Assalamualaikum to everyone. I'm Mahbub Al Rashid Nagli, Department of Economics. Today, I'm going to talk about an important topic of advanced microeconomics, which covered with some contents named profit distribution, general equilibrium setting, ownership and profit allocation, consumers budget constraint, consumers optimization problem, and equilibrium with production. So let's begin with first slide. In first slide, we notice here the profit distribution. Here I given a definition of profit distribution. Profit distribution refers to the way in which the profits earned by the firms are allocated or shared among individuals, owners, or consumers in an economy. Whenever an individual share with a firm in an economy, he or she or the individuals can get a profit from the firms that gain from the revenue. So here profit distribution shows us the revenue from shares of the firms. In general equilibrium settings, we can see here there is a lot of firms in an economy. We can make it as a J number of firms. So each firm J earns profits phi j p. Individuals I receive a portion of these profits according to their ownership shares theta ij. So you have a question that what is theta ij? Here theta ij is the owners of the shares, the ownership of the shares. That means I is the individual and J is the firms. So from firm J, I can get or the individual get the theta ij percentage of the ownership. Thus, the profit distribution determines how firm revenues are converted into household incomes. In next slide, I am going to talk about the ownership and the profit allocation. Though I have the ownership, so I can get the profit allocation as usual. So first of all, each firm J generates profits phi j p in equilibrium. Individual I, that means we denote the I as an individual, owns a share theta ij of firms J's profits. That means the firm J. Here there is a condition that theta ij must be greater or equal than 0 and the less or equal 1. That means the percentage must be in between 100%. So the summation of the theta ij is equal to 1. There are two cases. First case is if the theta ij is equal to 1, the individual I owns all profits of the firms J. That means whenever the theta is equal to 1, that means it's 100% of the ownership of the firms. So individual I owns all profits of the firms J. In case 2, if theta ij is equal 1 by I, here I is the total individual. So whenever I divided the profit in total individuals, they will get the equal distribution to each other. So every individual share of firms J is equal. Now I am going to talk about the next slide. Here we can see the next slide is covered with consumers budget constraint with profit income. So here let the P is greater or equal to 0. Here you can question me that what is the P? Here P is the price vector or vector of market prices. So the consumer's budget constraint must be P dot xi. Here P dot xi is the consumption of the consumer, and here we notice that it's less than or equal P dot ei. That here P dot ei is the endowment of the consumer, and plus summation of the theta ij pi j p. If you notice that the consumption of the consumer is less or equal to the endowment, but the extra part is summation of theta ij pi j p. Whenever a consumer or an individual share in firms or have the ownership of the firms, they can make another profit or another endowment from the firms. That means the total budget constraint must be P dot ei plus summation of theta ij pi j p. Here summation of theta ij pi j p is new compared to the standard budget constraint. Now I am going to talk about the next slide. So whenever I'm going to talk about the consumers optimization problem, here there is an utility function or utility maximization of the consumer. So we noticed here that there is an equation in this slide that maximization of the utility of the consumer subject to budget constraint where consumption bundle is less or equal the income of the consumer. You can notice here MIP. Here M is denoted as the income of a consumer. So I is refers to the individual's income in the same price of the commodity. Here price is equal to all consumers. Now the MIP is equal whenever the budget is now standard budget constraint. So the MIP is equal P dot EI plus summation of theta ij pi j t, where MIP is greater than 0 because we let the price is greater than or equal to 0. So the total income of the consumer must be greater than equal to, or sorry, must be greater than 0, and also endowment also is greater than 0. Here profit shares expand the consumer's effective income. I hope you understand. Then the next slide I'm going to talk about is existence and uniqueness of solution. So whenever you can say about the existence of the Walrasian law, I hope you know the Walrasian law. So this means to us that the price is super positive, and it's denoted as the solution by XIP MIP. That means the consumption of the bundle of the consumers here denoted as XI. I is the individual, and P is the same as to all consumers commodity. Here MIP is the consumer's income. And complete description of the economy. The economy is now described as UI, EI, theta ij, yj, and all I is elements of capital I, and small j is element of capital J. Here UI is the consumer's preferences, consumer EI is the consumer endowments, and theta ij is the ownership of the shares of the profits. Yj is the forms of production sets. Now I am going to talk about the next slide, where it shows that the equilibrium with production. First of all, it denoted as the excess demand. So whenever you have the more demand than your endowment or your income, there is a excess demand. So we are going to talk about the excess demand. We define excess demand functions to identify the set of equilibrium allocations. The excess demand function for good K is ZKP is equal summation of XIK PMIP minus summation of EIK minus summation of YJKP. So here ZKP is denoted as the excess demand, and the after the equal sign, the summation of the XIK PMIP is the is denoted as the total demand. So if I eradicate the endowment and the profit from the farm's owner's share, then we can get the total excess demand. So the term summation of YJK P is new and relates to production, unlike standard general equilibrium models. So the aggregate excess demand vector must be ZP is equal to Z1P, then Z2P, and at the end the ZKP. Here K is the good K, and P is the same price of the good. That's why whenever the ZKP is greater than 0, that means the excess demand is greater than 0. So it remains that I have most demand for any good. Or whenever the ZKP is less than equal or equal to 0, that means it seems to excess supply. So in next slide, or in next class I will talk about the excess supply and excess demand. So thank you. If you have any question, you can comment in my video. Yeah, thanks.